Hello. Glad you're all here. So I thought I'd just do a quick live video about today's Nick Holleran news. Very excited to finally be able to talk about it. So obviously Dead Man Walking came out November last year, in the year that we don't talk about, 2020, the never-ending year. And that was with one publisher. It was a short read. It wasn't, it was only 11,000 words. People seemed to like it. And hello, Peter. Hello, Matt. Thanks for joining. So yeah, to start about Melon, there was plans to do a sequel to it. Funnily enough, I had the title for the book almost straight away before I'd even thought of finishing the first one. I knew the second one was going to be called The Devil Walks in Blood. There's like an overall arc to the series, which I think is going to be about 5 books at the moment, with possible, prequels, spin-offs, and what have you. So I knew that one straight away, but I didn't start writing it until January of this year, the year that we can talk about, hopefully. And so there was a bit of issues anyway. The thing got announced, then it got delayed and pulled from the old publisher, and I was hopeful of finding it a new home just for the sequel, The Devil Walks in Blood. And then I was even more delighted to have Eerie River taking it on, not just the sequel, but also the original Dead Man Walking. Now, what we're going to do with Dead Man Walking is we're not just going to be releasing the exact same thing. It's going to be because Dead Man Walking is quite small, really. Like, it's a short read, and that's what it was. So there was a certain word count it had to be. So there was some things that were kind of streamlined in it. I tried my best to kind of do quite a lot of world building in it and just tell a story and introduce to a character that I am quite fond of. But there could be more. There was opportunities for more, and like a lot of the reviews that I read for it, and overwhelmingly there've been positive reviews. But even with some of those positive ones, there was people asking for more of that story, not just of the world as well. People wanted more afterwards, and they wanted sequels, which was great. But people wanted more of that actual story. And if anyone's tuning in, they want to ask anything about just Nick Holleran or plans for the future or anything, just chime in and I'll do my best to answer them. So the plan is that we're going to be re-releasing Dead Man Walking and the sequel, The Devil Walks in Blood, on the same day, which is July 3rd. Now, we're going to be doing different things with Dead Man Walking. The Devil Walks in Blood, which is here, the little link for it, if you want to give it a nice pre-order on ebook or anything, but obviously it's going to be in paperback and hardback as well. That's obviously the full sequel. It's the first, well, it's not really the first draft, but say maybe the second, third draft is written, it's done. There'll be the editing and all that kind of stuff for it, and so there might be a few little tweaks and changes here and there, but the story is pretty much there and done. But the first one, what we're going to be doing is just, about Eerie River publishing it and republishing it, it's not going to be the same. It's the same story, but it's going to be expanded with new material. So what that means is, it's not going to be as long as the second book, which is quite long actually for it's full on novella length. I think as it stands now, it's about 35,000 words. My other thing that I've got coming out this year in Solitude Shadow, like at the same stage as what this was about 35,000 words, and that's going to be about 56,000 words when it comes out. Like, it's going to be quite a lot bigger after editing and other ideas that you have. So so who knows how long The Devil Walks in Blood will be when it comes out. However, Dead Man Walking at the moment is about 11,000 words, so it's going to be substantially longer than that. Maybe even about double the length. while telling the same story. Now, it won't be just padded with like stuff, because I think what people like about Dead Man Walking and Nick Holleran is the pace of it. You know, it happens in the action. We did a little bit of a test. We did a little test with people that I read it recently, asking about like the tense that it's told in, and some people that don't like the tense generally that it's told in enjoyed it with Nick Holleran, because I think it, you know, helped keep the pace going the way it should do. So the extra material isn't going to slow any of that down. What we're going to do is we're going to be able to spend a little bit more time with some of the characters that may not appear in the other books, just in case people haven't read them. Don't want to give any spoilers, but people who have read it, they'll probably know who I'm talking about. And just to kind of fill out the world a little bit, because the second book definitely does that, and it pulls back the curtains a little bit on Haven City, where Nick lives. Other people are introduced. Other factions, I guess you could say, are introduced. So there's a good way of kind of doing that in Dead Man Walking as well, and adding some of those stuff in while not taking away from the story that we were already told and what people seem to like. So what we're going to do is just be refining it, expanding it, and hopefully, you know, you'll like what we do with the original. And then, obviously, on the same day is The Devil Walks in Blood, again, which is the full sequel. I'm really kind of happy with it now. I wasn't happy with it probably a month and a half ago, but I've done a little bit more work on it. I went back and read it again and kind of seeing what was good and seeing what wasn't so good, and then, you know, I've sent that in to Eerie River now, and then that'll go through that process of them reading it and kind of giving their feedback and trying to improve it and get it to be the best sequel that it can be. It's the first sequel that I ever wrote, which isn't a big surprise since I've not been writing for too long anyway. But it was like, you know, it's tricky to do a sequel because I was writing it and just kind of under the assumption that people who were going to read this one would have read the first one, which isn't always the case. So like that was something that a couple of my beta readers said, which was just give us a little bit of like, bring us back up to speed in a little bit in a few of these kind of ways, and doing that in a kind of organic way was tricky, but it was fun. Hi, Nicky. But I'm actually really happy with it where it is at the moment. I know it's going to be better after the process of what we're going to do with Eerie River. But, you know, I think it's genuinely a better story and a better book than the first one. I think, you know, I kind of had an idea of what I was going to do with the sequel when I was writing the first one, but from looking at the feedback from the first one, it does kind of hit on a lot of points that people wanted to see more of from the first one as well. So that's it, really. So, you know, I'm going to kind of wrap things up unless anyone wants to ask anything in particular about it. Thanks everyone for joining in. I just want to say as well, like, thanks to Eerie River for taking this back on, because you know, it was kind of in the process of coming out with the previous publisher. And, you know, it's when you kind of, that kind of goes away a little bit. It's kind of, you kind of like, oh, well, what do we do about this? So I was very, like, you know, delighted that Eerie stepped in and took it and wanted to take it as well. It wasn't just like, they were very happy to take it. I love the covers as well. I don't know if I can get this on there, because I'm still trying to figure out how to use StreamYard, but maybe another time I can get the cover up properly. But what I'm going to do is I'll show you on my phone, which is really, really low tech. But obviously that is the new cover for Dead Man Walking. As you can see, new extended edition. And The Devil Walks in Blood. There we have it. So I like these ones because it's kind of the same theme, slightly different, and I like the subtle use of colour in it as well. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. I can't wait for you all to read it on July 3rd. So I'll say they're both available to pre-order at the moment. Dead Man Walking, I've looked at the prices of them today, and obviously Dead Man Walking is going to be cheaper than The Devil Walks in Blood. If it's just e-readers, e-books at the moment that you can pre-order. So it's a little bit cheaper, the first one, because obviously it's going to be a little bit smaller as well, and you would have read some of it, the bulk of it. You'll know what the start, middle, the beginning, middle, and end of it is. Just the journey, how we get there. It's going to be a little bit different. So it's good. So when's book 3? Luke asks. Well, I have no idea. So there will be at least, including the first one, there's going to be at least 5 books. The third one, I know where it's going for the third one as well. Like it's, I've not done a synopsis of it or anything yet, but I know kind of what's going to happen with it and what it needs to do. Quite a lot of it is set up in the second book as well. The working title of it is called One Life Left. So I hope you kind of like that one. Doesn't have walking in it this time. Obviously, Dead Man Walking, Devil Walks in Blood. But I think One Life Left kind of fits the series quite well, I hope. Obviously, if you've read the first one, you know that he died, came back, was resuscitated, and if he dies again, then he's kind of staying in hell for the rest of his existence. So he has only got one life left, really. So that's it. And the third one is going to be it's going to put him in quite a lot of peril. The second one does too. He doesn't have he does not have a great day. But there'll be a bit of the second one obviously takes place. The last scene of the first book is pretty much the first scene of the second book, with a little bit of something in between from a different point of view, to give you a little tease. So we don't open the book with Nick Holleran, we open it with someone else. But then it picks up where the first one left off. So I don't think I'll be doing that again with the third one. I think there'll be a little bit of a gap, maybe give them a little time to settle down a little bit after the revelations of the second book. The new covers look sick, as much more in tune with the feel of the story. Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, I like the original cover quite a lot, but it didn't really. I mean, this one has that kind of, when you see the detail of it up close. If you also you've got that kind of noir detective kind of feel to it, and then you can see like this little kind of ghosts and stuff and shapes on the page. It kind of hints at the paranormal aspect of it as well. So I'm glad you like them, because I like them a lot too. And Jen loves the covers. I love the covers too. Luke loves the covers. That's good. Nick, I can't wait to explore this world more. Neither can I. So going back to the question anyway, and then I'll wrap up. When is going to be book 3? Probably not till next year, I would say. Because this is coming out in July. Obviously in June I have In Solitude's Shadow, which is like a completely different type of fantasy. That's out then, and then I'll be doing the sequel to that one. I think we're looking to try and do the whole trilogy of that one this year, possibly. And we're not sure yet what the exact timeline is, but we're going to be doing it quite soon. So the idea is that when you finish In Solitude's Shadow, there'll be a little bit for book 2 ready there for you, and a pre-order link and all that kind of stuff, maybe even the cover, who knows. And then it won't be too long before it comes out, and then the same for the third one. So after that is done, I'll probably do the third Nick Holleran, because obviously we have Whiskey Pete's Route 13 to come at some point this year too. And that'll be, hopefully we'll talk about that later on in the year. That is also set in the Nick Holleran world, or the Holleran verse, as someone said to me recently. It's a prequel, actually. It's set pretty about a year after his reawakening, so that'll be out as well this year too, I hope. So there's plenty of Nick Holleran to go, so I think maybe a little break would be a good thing. Get Netflix or Amazon Prime time to get the first season going on TV, because that would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be fantastic? And if it is, I'll try and get us all cameo parts if I can. Wouldn't that be fantastic? So that's all for today. So thanks for joining in, whoever did. I just thought I'd do this one a little bit instead of just, hello, last minute. There's Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, everyone can thank Michelle for it. If you like Nick Holleran, and if you like Dead Man Walking, then Michelle is the person to thank. That there's going to be more coming, because it was her decision. So that was it. So yeah, thanks for joining in. I thought this was just probably a better way, just than making another post about it or anything like that, so you can just kind of find out a little bit about what it is we're doing with it, how the first one is going to change, and thoughts about the second one and for the rest of the series. So thanks for joining in, and I hope that you really enjoy what we're going to do with it, because I'm really excited about it. I love Nick Holleran. I think he's a fun character to write, and I can't wait to kind of dive back in there and do a bit more work on him, and can't wait to see what you think about it. So, goodbye.